All right, we are good to go. So welcome to our professional quest with Stanley Martin Homes. This will be a 30-minute discussion, hopefully expanding your mind on some employment options for you all. So my name is Kelly Coughlan. I am the Senior Career Manager at the Costello College of Business, Office of Career Services, and I'll be leading this discussion with Josh, Jessica, and Mike. So if I could just ask each of you, and I'll call you one on one, tell us how you got started, kind of what was your background going into working with Stanley Martin, and we'll kind of take it from there. So if you want to get us started, Josh.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. Kelly, do you want me to give a quick overview of the company as well?
That would be lovely.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. So my name is Josh Hutzler. Thank you so much, Kelly, for having us on the call. We certainly look forward to opportunities to sharing the good work that Stanley Martin is doing, and any chance we get to collaborate with George Mason, we want to take it. And so thank you again for that. So again, my name is Josh. I'm the division president for the Northern Virginia division here at Stanley Martin Homes. And joining me today, as you shared, Kelly, are our vice presidents, Jessica Martin and Mike Taylor. They both lead our sales and production teams respectively. In a moment, Kelly, again, you'll facilitate the call. We're going to provide a quick overview and some background around what we do individually here at Stanley Martin Homes, kind of how long we've been with the company and how we got into home building. But before we do that, I wanted to give a quick overview of Stanley Martin Homes, and maybe that'll help set the stage or give some context for the audience once this is shared out. So Stanley Martin has been building new homes since 1966. If you do the quick math, it's just under 60 years. We're super excited about that. And we're headquartered in Reston, Virginia, so it's here local for anybody that's in Northern Virginia. We're the nation's fastest growing home builder. Super excited about that. And we've built more than, this was actually a fun fact. I just got this latest piece of data. We built more than 25,000 homes across our footprint, which is just an amazing accomplishment because many of us, Mike, Jessica, and myself, have been with the company just right around 10 years. And so we've seen this growth happen all inside probably the last 8 years. It's been fascinating, exciting to be a part of it. We've a part of that growth is that we've grown into, outside of the DC metro area, which is basically where we started. We're now operating in 14 metro areas across 7 states, which include Virginia, Maryland, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, North and South, and West Virginia also. Our recent big accomplishment has been that we were named 2021 Builder Magazine Home Builder National Builder of the Year. And our mission, one of the ways we believe we have helped achieve that is that we want to kind of the thing that we rally around is that we want to design and build homes people love at a price they can afford. And it would be appropriate to also note that we are a subsidiary of the Daiwa House Group, which is headquartered in Osaka, Japan, and is one of the largest housing construction and development companies in the world. And so with that, I'll pause and maybe turn the call back over to you, Kelly.
Yeah, I was just going to say I can attest to how pretty they are because I did the site visit last spring and got to walk through some of the homes that y'all were building. And so
Oh,
it was then added to my ultimate wish list. So
nice. That's great.
but yeah, if you want to go ahead and, kind of give us a little background on how you personally got started. What was your background when you got hired by Stanley Martin? That would
Yeah,
be great.
yeah, absolutely. So I joined, I'm working on my 10th year, actually, and joined the company. Prior to that, I had worked for, I guess I'll kind of work in reverse. I worked for a really small regional builder. Prior to that, I worked with a national home builder. And before that, a lot of folks don't know this, but it's a fun fact. I was actually a teacher for 2.5 years. And the toughest age group of all, it was the middle school, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders. Tough crowd. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. I was more passionate about home building and kind of, through college, literally wearing the tool belt, loved working with my hands, framing houses, and just learned a lot from a lot of really smart, experienced people. just really, the national builder bug bit me for sure. And I love what I'm doing. And I would summarize it to say that I really, what we do, what we wake up and do every day is help people realize the American dream. That's what everybody's working towards. And we wake up and do that every day. And it's extremely gratifying. And Stanley Martin is definitely the company, in my view. I might be biased. They are the company to work for. I just love the people, the company, the culture, which we can talk about a little bit more, but that's kind of my background and my path to Stanley Martin.
Yeah. And what was your major in school?
K8.
Okay. Yep. Started. And I mean,
Everybody's path is different, right?
it is. And honestly, that's really good to hear though, too, because I think that when we have students in our office, I feel like a lot of times they feel like they have to pick the most perfect concentration or major because this is going to determine the rest of their life. And
Right.
we hear stories like yours. It says, not really. I mean, yes, of course, it's great to have that business background and all this kind of stuff, but you can pivot at any
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. My story is not unique. You might even hear him today. Yeah, everybody has a similar sort of, I thought I wanted to do this and this
Yep.
is what I'm doing. And boy, I love this.
Yep. I got halfway through a master's program and realized I did not want to be a therapist. Career counseling's close enough. Jessica, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be there?
Sure, I would be happy to. First, I'd want to congratulate the women's basketball team. That was a huge win yesterday for the
Right?
conference champs. Or we live right by George Mason University, so we're avid basketball fans and attend the games. So
Oh, very
a
cool.
commute to our Chantilly office is only 8 miles, so it'll be easy to get here. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with in a degree in business and a minor in communication. And I actually came right out of college and started with a national home builder and in the sales arena. And I've been with Stanley Martin Homes for 14 years now. And my path, I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And the way I was able to capitalize on it is when you are in the sales profession, you sit in a beautifully decorated model home and you utilize the capital business dollars of the company to kind of run and manage your own little community business. And I loved being able to do that. And quite honestly, I was very motivated by money. And it is the best kept secret. It is extremely lucrative to be in the sales arena, especially in new home construction in this area. So that always motivated me, as well as being very results oriented. And every month you start at zero and you lead by results. So anyone who has a competitive, persuasive spirit, it is certainly a phenomenal, lucrative opportunity to get into.
Love that. And that was part of the thing for me too, when I got halfway through schooling and decided therapy, was not going to be
Yeah.
my path, is like, I love the tangible. I love the
Yes.
numbers. And like you're saying, you start from zero and you're building up, and then at the end you have like this tangible kind of result from your work.
It's so true. It's really when everyone starts interviewing for jobs and gets so fixated on a major, we really interview dimensionally. So you have to kind of look at what I'm looking for in the sales department is someone with high persuasion, results orientation, adaptability, driving success, and really great customer engagement. So those are the critical components. I don't care if you're an education major or have your MBA, and I've interviewed all sorts of folks, but those are really the dimensionally what I'm looking for someone to come on board in the sales department.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard another employer say last week, I would hire character over competency.
Yep.
100%. I can train anyone how to do the sales, but
Yep.
I can't train high drive and good energy.
Right. Okay. Mike, same questions for you. How'd you get your start? And tell
Yeah,
us.
great. Thanks for having us on, Kelly. I am a Pennsylvania guy. I graduated from the Penn State University back in 1997. My major was philosophy, interestingly enough. So I studied an emphasis of science, technology, and society at the main campus. Graduated in 97, and then my path took me. I traveled a bit. I was overseas for a little while, out in Colorado, framing up houses. I did some timber framing in Vermont, all on the construction side of things. I think I realized that at a young age in high school that I really had an interest in just building in general. But being from a really small town in Pennsylvania, I knew nothing about the mass, the larger home building efforts that come with a national builder. I just didn't really get it. But I had a brother that was an engineer for Weyerhaeuser. He introduced me to the industry, and I came down to Northern Virginia in around 2001, and I worked for one of our competitors for 13 years. I got hired on as an assistant neighborhood construction manager. That's what we call them now, anyway. Basically, one of our entry level positions, and I really learned a business there. I did that for about 2 years and quickly got promoted to run a community of my own and really be responsible for the ins and outs of building the entire community from our land development phase all the way to customer turnover. And that just really intrigued me. I built several communities. And then I had a sort of wanted to get an understanding of the deeper business, and got invited to join our purchasing team there and worked with our procurement efforts for 2 years at that company. And that opened up a whole nother realm of, sort of what it is that we do. And on top of just building homes, we have so many different facets, so many different departments that contribute to the overall. So that gave me a different breadth. And then from there, I moved into being a director and managing multiple communities at a time, which is sort of the hierarchy in national home building. I think you manage, you learn the craft of being at an assistant level, you learn how to run a community. And then after that, if you care, some people choose to do that for a career, and it's a wonderful, very fulfilling career. But if you want to move on, there's opportunity to be more of a director position where you're overseeing multiple communities and responsible for profit and loss in that side of the business. So that's pretty that compelled me, really drove me. I'm very much like Jessica in terms of having a competitive edge. So I'm sort of a numbers guy and wanting to understand the performance of the manufacturing efforts. And that really gave me an understanding of that side of the business. From there, I got Rift. Actually, it was kind of a sad story, but a lot of people got caught up in the downturn. I made it through a lot of that, but we got bought, or the company that I was with got bought out, and that's what led me to Stanley Martin Homes in 2014-ish. I think I came here, so I've been here for about 10 years, like Josh alluded to. And then when I came here, I was a director as well. And then I moved into our corporate office where I was responsible for building some training programs and helping finalize some of our efforts onto a new enterprise system and doing some training around that. So I worked in our Reston office for a few years doing that before I came back out into the field, and I'm in the current position that I'm in now, which is Vice President of Construction. So I oversee the construction efforts for Josh and work closely with the rest of the team. I also manage the customer service efforts and permitting efforts of the division too. So it's a little bit multifaceted, but sort of everything production related.
Okay, which sort of gets into my next question, because we've kind of touched on the topic of, is there a perfect major or if you're looking to get into new home building, and it sounds like not necessarily that you can kind of come from any background. So if anybody wants to touch more on that, but also too, as we talked about, kind of trying to avoid that tunnel vision and think that new home building is swinging a hammer. Mike, as you're alluding to, I mean, obviously many positions and you're overseeing many sides of it. So if you could speak to, again, maybe what background would be the most helpful for getting into some of these areas, and then what are these areas? What are kind of like the whole breadth of types of positions that you could find in new home building?
Who would you like to start, Kelly?
Anybody who wants to chime in to answer.
Let me maybe I'll I think it might be helpful to quick kind of provide an overview of I think because essentially the company operates, and most home builders operate this way. There's really two distinct areas if you're job seeking. One is going to be at the division level. And in my opening remarks, I talked about we operate in 14 markets. We have 11 divisions and growing across those 14 markets. And inside each of those division offices, you'll have a division president that leads the team. And then you'll have a sales leader, production and service, a purchasing leader, a land acquisition leader, a land development leader. And inside each of those leadership groups is a team that helps do the operational things that help the division succeed. And so we have 11 of what I just described across the company. Then we have in Reston, which is where our corporate office is, we have support groups that aren't focused on what's happening specifically, the very tactical things that happen in the divisions. They're more overseeing the broader view of the company, the growth, kind of coalescing all of the information from the divisions, closing, sales, profit and loss, all of that. And so in Reston, you'll see departments like accounting, legal, marketing, yeah, architecture, even. And so, to your point, and maybe your question, Kelly, is it's really not just about swinging a hammer. And frankly, most of even that work, we would hire trade partners, subcontractors to do that for us. But the paths are really wide ranging. And between the three of us, we've got story after story over, folks that started here and a year or two in said, boy, that purchasing thing seems pretty cool. I might like that. And they would interact with their supervisor in their one-on-one meetings, talk about a career track, and then we would work with the team. I think Stanley Martin just has I would say, again, I'm probably biased, but a robust learning and development team that helps team members find that career track, create what we call paths to proficiency to help that team member achieve what it is that they want to Mike's point, have a fulfilling career. And so it really can fall into two buckets, if you will, a division office or the corporate office. And I'll pause because I think Mike and Jessica might be able to offer some maybe deeper context or more specific examples on how they have seen that play out.
Yeah, I mean, I really think, again, when we go back to kind of the dimensional components, think to yourself, if you're looking for a career opportunity, do you like to help people? Do you like to be involved in one of the biggest life decisions folks will make, which is owning a brand new home, perhaps guiding them for the very first time or helping them out of a situation that had them move. So it's quite rewarding. We also have a standard of excellence within the Northern Virginia division in itself. So do you have a competitive edge? Out of my 14 sales professionals, 12 of the 14 have been awarded kind of the Sales Excellence Award, and there's very hard criteria and metrics with customer service and sales results, etc., that you have to demonstrate in order to be a part of this elite group. So we have a great competitive spirit. We work for excellence. We are always above and beyond whatever the metrics are set for us. And we operate with a really high level of integrity. So I think those are things that I'd like people to think about. Like, that resonates with me. I do like to help people. I like to be in front of people moving through the process and want to work for a company who has great values. And, there's not a jerk in the bunch. Everyone really works together as a team to accomplish some really special things.
Very cool.
I guess I'll just add to that, Kelly. I think Josh and Jess hit a lot of it. But I guess I'd add, if you look on a lot of our recruiting tools, go to stanleymartinhomes.com, and
Mhm.
as many employers have a career page, right? And if you look up some of our job opportunities, which we have available, which I encourage you and your team to do, there's always lots going on in all the different divisions. It's broken down very cleanly in terms of the positions that are available. And if you look at a lot of we have must-haves and nice-to-haves for students to focus in on, like, do I fit this bill? And I think a lot of your students might find that a lot of what we're looking for is a lot of what Jess talked about is a lot of the soft skills. Are they motivated? Are they organized? Do they have a compassion to be a good communicator? They don't have to have perfected that stuff, but they want to strive to be good communicators, to be well organized, to be part of a successful team and contributing to a greater goal. Those are a lot of the things that I hire for in my particular realm. It's more attitude based. And then the nice to haves are really what you guys are offering. Your majors are very pertinent to what we're focused on. I was reading through some of your concentrations being management, business analytics, finance, accounting, etc. Everything that you jotted down really is a direct correlation to what we do. And as Josh mentioned, there's many disciplines within home building. It's not about swinging hammers. It's really about logistics, communication. There's the whole finance side of things, the land act side of things, the marketing side. Boy, there's just so many things to sink your teeth into. And I guess the last thing I would say, and it's sort of one of the questions that you posed, but you had asked a question, do you have a piece of advice for students? And it's sort of tying in back to your original question here, is that really not to get locked down and think that you have to have it all figured out when you're jumping into this great big wide world. There's so many opportunities, but do have a passion, do have an intent when you're interviewing, and really fixate on that being a starting point. You're just starting, so don't pretend that you have to have that all figured out, because you can lean on a lot of outside help and internal help to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish over time. I think that's one of the mistakes I made. I put a lot of pressure on myself in the beginning that just was very unnecessary. But just being focused and diligent take you a long way.
Perfect. And I also think, experience is the best teacher, right? And so we can talk about taking a job within, I think, Mike, maybe you had talked about this, but you start in a company and you see, or Josh, maybe it was you, and you see like another, like, oh, purchasing looks kind of exciting. I'd like to maybe give that a try. Like, of course, once you're in the company, I'm sure it's a little easier to move around. It sounds like there are definitely opportunities for professional development or moving up and that kind of thing. So it's not like, boy, you better pick just the right, career move for the rest of your life, taking the first job there, because that's just not the way it works, as all of us have, I'm sure, experienced and know. So Mike answered one of my questions here, but I'd like to pose it for the other two. What advice do you have for students kind of considering either new home building or just advice in general for job searching?
I would say just be persistent and adaptable. It's really, really important. And remember, it's a long journey and you're gonna have to earn the right to be successful. I think oftentimes we come out of college and think we're going to already be the CEO of an organization or form a startup. Just be patient with yourself, but have the persistence to carry on. Like, it takes a lot of hard work to be successful. But if you put in the simple disciplines that you don't typically see behind the scenes, the results will happen. And for many of our entry level positions, sales, production, land acquisition, like, you have a mentor and you'll be coached along someone that is an expert. And we have a very robust training program. So we love to take folks that have this passion and results orientation. We can teach you all the nuances of the industry and the building and sales and what goes along with it. So if you come with an open mind and great attitude, really sky's the limits here. I mean, I've been here 14 years. I did start in the sales arena, and went to general sales manager, and now I've been the vice president of sales for, I believe it's going on 9.5 years. So there's tons of upward mobility if you put in the hard work and earn it. So it's good stuff.
I would probably add and say, Mike touched on this, and so did Jessica, is really just don't try to have your life figured out at 22 years old. If you're in a 4-year degree, you get out, it's 22. You don't have to have that figured out. You don't. That's the first item. Second is as you enter into a career, um, the people matter the most. And I would say look for a company that is focused on people first. And it's a bit cliche these days, but that's really ask questions that really vet that out. And when you find that company that can really give tangible examples around the people matter, then that's you're checking an important box there. Once you get into the role, be wildly curious. Just ask why and be so curious to learn about that business, what it is that you do that can help contribute to the success of the company. How are you adding value to the organization? I think if you're thinking of it, you got to be selfless, right? There are no I players here. I mean, we are all connected to, especially at the division level, to one another to help achieve the thing that we're setting out to do on an annual basis. And before it's an annual, it's monthly, and then it's weekly, and it's daily, and then it's out. I mean, we really do get into the micro of that. Stanley Martin does, but advice to folks graduating. I think that curiosity is, I've seen the people that have thrived that I've seen over the years are really curious, just insatiable learning, desire to just know the business, the people around them. And so, yeah, that will be kind of top of mind for me.
Yeah, and I'll add, when you are going through interviews, ask if they have an employee survey and what are the kind of the statistics of that employee survey. That can give you a really good perspective. We are also measured by the happiness of our homeowners who take a survey after they've lived in their home for some time. And my philosophy about a great customer experience is it happens organically, and we score between 95 and 98% in the Northern Virginia division, and we sell over 850 homes a year, which is quite an amazing goal. But I always find that the employees who are genuinely happy coming to work in every day and they feel like they're thriving, that carries through with the exceptional customer experience that our home buyers are showing us that they're having with us at Stanley Martin.
Excellent point.
Well, I have one last question for you, which sort of ties into what we've been discussing, but what is your favorite thing about working at Stanley Martin or in the new home building industry? And Josh, let's start with you.
I probably shared it earlier. I have just such a conviction around, my two girls, they ask, kind of, what do you do? And I just think the simplest, best way to say that is that we help people achieve the American dream. And it's just, the satisfaction I would get when I was 20 something was seeing a house that I helped build, like literally, helped build it, swing the trusses, sheet the roof, do that. And that was very gratifying. But today it's different. And I would say just in and amongst the team too, outside of the bigger help build the American dream, is just the people that I work with. It really is just, we've got an elite level of operators here. The success that the Northern Virginia division has achieved over the years is second to none in the company. And I speak that from a data standpoint, not an opinion standpoint. And just coming to work with people who genuinely care about one another first. I mean, we know our spouses' names, our kids, that's matters most. And then we'll talk about the business later. And that's incredibly gratifying for me just to be a part of that. It really is.
Perfect. Jessica, I know you said there's no Not one jerk in the bunch.
There is not.
You wanna
For me,
expand on it?
which is hard pressed to find an organization, but we truly live it. It certainly for me, it's the people and the caliber of the kind of the commitment to achieve fantastic results. I mean, most of my sales professionals have been with me 10 plus years, and just as you're sitting kind of figuring out what you're going to do, one of my sales representatives, Austin, started in a sales position at 20. Now he's 31. He's going to be welcoming his first child in May. So we really watch folks like yourselves that will be viewing this kind of start and then kind of grow into marriage and families. And it's really quite special to be able to kind of go through that life journey with my employees that we really feel is like a family environment here.
Yeah, and it sounds like an environment where there's not maybe a lot of turnover because, it is such
No,
a
no.
positive place to work. Okay.
Yeah, we have
Mike?
Yeah, same on my end. I'm going to echo the exact same thing, and it's really important to all of us. It's really the people that make this business work. I think it's not unique to Stanley Martin Homes. I think it's people that make a lot of businesses work, but here we really focus on the culture and what does that mean? What do the relationships mean? What can we be doing for other team members to make their days and their jobs go on smoother? So I think we care a lot about the process, but part of the process is working together because it is so multifaceted. We're a manufacturer, so we are putting all of these parts and pieces together, starting out at land and then land development, and then the house itself, that's intricate enough. But if you couple that with the front end land development side, the manufacturing process, and then the home buying experience that Jessica's team focuses on, there's so many baton handoffs. And without that proper communication and that proper teaming, you just don't have it. So that's kind of the secret sauce. And we really focus hard on training to get there. But it's really the people, like the good attitudes and the people that want to come help each other out and work for and with each other, not really the I game. But what are we doing together to accomplish these great results? I think that's really one of the things that makes Stanley Martin Homes a really special place.
Right. And I know that we've actually had Mason grads hired there too. I've been
yes, yeah, we
Yes,
did.
we have.
so that's
Very
exciting.
exciting.
Well, I can't thank you enough for your time today, all of you. I think you gave us some really great insights into why you don't have to necessarily pick the perfect degree to start, and kind of what types of options are available within the company and the home building. That again, it's not necessarily hammer swinging. It is everything from marketing and management and analytics and sales and everything in between. So again, I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was our pleasure, Kelly. Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.